Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey.
It's your president and your VP, and we're back once again with, well, I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but,
we're getting into some very touchy subject matter, guys. You're welcome. The film is American History X.
Yes. American History X. So let's talk about it. It come out in 1999, and it stars Edward Norton and Edward Furlong. And it also has a cameo appearance.
No! Not yet. Not until we get to that moment.
Okay. It also stars Beverly D'Angelo as Edward Norton's mother in the movie, and it also has Fairuza Balk as his girlfriend, and also Ethan Suplee as one of his racist, white nationalist, white supremacist.
Isn't that Frankie?
Yeah, Frankie.
Yeah, I thought so.
From
Boy Meets World,
yeah,
guys.
But anyways, they are a bunch of white supremacist, racist skinheads, basically. And the movie opens up with Edward Furlong kind of narrating things, and he's at a school, and he wrote a paper on why Adolf Hitler is a social rights movement activist. That's the route he went.
With the book Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Which I've actually, because we're studying the World War II unit now in history, and we looked at a few things from Mein Kampf, because we wanted to see how he got to rise to power as chancellor and all that, and why he rose to that.
Now, what wasn't Edward's character named Johnny?
No, it was Danny, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Danny. No, Danny's the little brother.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it don't really matter that much. So like I said, he gets in trouble because his American...
Danny's the little brother, yeah.
His history teacher is, quite rightly, and offended by said material. And he's going to show up, and he has to write a new paper on why he will end up the way he ends up, or something like that.
He has to write a new paper on his brother and why he went down the route that he went down.
Yeah, that's it. I'm getting a little confused. It's been a little bit since we watched the movie.
It's still fresh on my mind, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it can be hard to forget something like this. So he has to write the paper, and it's part of a new course called American History X. So he has to go home, and he's going to write the paper. Meanwhile, his brother gets out of prison. Now, it shows some flashbacks to, he talks about how the neighborhood went to hell. And that his brother didn't allow that to happen, and they have a basketball game against what appears to either be the Bloods or the Crips. They are a violent street gang, and they beat them. But in retaliation, said street gang comes to his house and shoots it up. So...
No, they try stealing his car.
Yeah, well, they do shoot at him, too. And he shoots back, and one of them is left behind, and he tells the guy to put his mouth on the curb. And what happens after that, as this happens, is, well, disturbing. And when you watch this, guys, you will never forget it. I'll just say that. And this is much more serious in tone than some of the other ones that we've done, because in the time, that we live in now, with all the things that are going on in the world, it does seem like somewhat of an appropriate movie to have covered. So he goes to prison because of curb stomping this guy to death. And he gets something. and it would have been like first degree murder because his brother, played by Furlong, witnesses the whole thing, and it begs and pleads him to stop, but he doesn't listen, and so he ends up in prison.
And he testified, which got his sentence reduced.
And it would have been a lot more had he told the truth, though.
Yeah.
So, but he also mentions that, or he goes to prison, and he finds out that it's pretty segregated. You know, for him, I guess it seems like a paradise, right? Because they're all separated and segregated, because that's the way the prison system works. He ends up having to join the local skinheads in there. And as time goes on, though, while he's in there, he gets disillusioned because the skinheads often in prison make alliances with the African Americans and the Mexicans in the prison to move what appears to be, and probably is, crystal meth. So he becomes so disillusioned with that, and he also starts to develop a friendship with a black man in prison. And this black man is sort of a comic relief.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit needed because
Yeah.
of all the things that are going on. And he mentions about how he ended up going to prison. And it was assault on a police officer because he was running with a stolen TV. And the police officer told him to drop it, so he drops it, and it breaks the police officer's foot.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, come on, tell me, how did you really get in here? He's like, I dropped a TV on a police officer's foot.
Yeah.
It's a very serious moment for this, who's supposed to be like the comic relief, because he had to be a dad laughing at like this one thing that he was doing with the
Well, and you know, he brightens up his spirits because he talks about the one thing that he misses the most, and that is the smell of a woman and what goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he makes friends with them, and as time goes on, there's a pretty brutal scene that happens when the skinheads realize that he's left them. It involves a bunch of them and a shower. That's all I need to say.
And
It's
it's prison.
So time goes on, and he gets an early release, and he realizes that the black man is the one that orchestrated it. But of course, because he's got to maintain his rep in the prison, he denies it, you know, because that's how things work. So he goes home. But after all these years being in there, his perspective has changed. And the hate that was in his heart is no longer there. Because he got reformed by it. For once, in this man's case, it actually reformed him. The prison did its job. Which is a rarity, because usually that doesn't happen.
Because he was forced to spend time with an African American.
And he had to, because it was the same boring thing, day in and day out for their job. Folding clothes, putting them in a washing machine, taking them out, yada, yada, yada. They worked the laundry room.
Yeah.
But anyways...
And he's also telling his younger brother this story.
And Edward Furlong, who, by the way, guys, is a really great actor in his own right. And, well, he's fallen on a lot of hard times. Best wishes to you, Edward. If you ever watch this, we are all praying for you. And we hope that you continue to lead a clean and sober life. He had problems with drugs. And that's why his career didn't really take off the way he wanted it to. So, like I said, he then recounts another event. And he says, maybe it started with the basketball thing. But then again, now that I think about it,
no,
maybe it was always there.
He's like, if you ask my brother, he said it started with the death of our dad.
Yeah,
but
and
then again, it may have always been there because of our dad.
Yeah, because Edward talks about, you know, certain things that are still hot button issues today, such as illegal immigration and stuff like that, and race relations, and it's very apparent that this kid has very white supremacist views. And like I said, it probably did start with his dad, and that's when we get the cameo.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
There's a cameo by William Russ. If you know who he is Alan Matthews in the TV show Boy Meets World.
And this movie was made during Boy Meets World's run.
And he drops the N-word with a hard R attached to it.
And the reason why he kind of does is because his son comes home and he starts gushing about this new teacher, who ends up being Edward's teacher as well.
Yeah.
Edward Furlong, not Norton, by the way. It can be a little confusing there, because I can't exactly remember his name. But that's okay, like I said. He's gushing over the new teacher and how he's talking about Martin Luther King and this and that, and the civil rights and all the ideas that came out back in those times that people tried and fought so hard for. And his dad explains to him that he's a firefighter there in Los Angeles, and that a couple of his best guys got replaced because of affirmative action. And he asked him if that was fair, and he said, all I'm telling you is keep your eyes and ears open. But basically what he's telling him is close your mind off, kid. That's basically what he's telling him.
Yeah.
So, anyways...
don't forget that the younger
there's
brother...
also a Jewish man. I can't remember his name right now, but he's a pretty famous actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, too. He plays the mother's boyfriend. And they get into a big argument. And this is a rough movie, guys. If you can't handle the type of language that is portrayed in the movie, don't watch it. It's a tough sit. We get all the Jewish derogatory terms because this man's a Jewish man. So he spouts out all that hatred about Jews and the anti-Semitic beliefs and he's got Mein Kampf in his bedroom and all this stuff, And as it turned out, Stacy Keach, by the way, plays the leader of the local white supremacists. And he's a pretty good actor, too, you guys. He is the one that more or less espoused all the beliefs that his father had already instilled in him and magnified them by 100. So after he gets out of the prison, he goes to a white supremacist party that night. And he tells his girlfriend, who again was played by Fairuza Balk, that he doesn't want to do this no more. And that him and her can have a fresh start. And all they have to do is just leave and get away from it. But she doesn't want to. And he has a confrontation with the leader. And he tells him, you leave Danny out of this. I do remember that his little brother's name was Danny.
Yeah.
Tells him, you leave him out of this. And he pretty much agrees to him. Because he's like, hey, I don't need him. There's 100 more just like him. And that was part of the thing too. And it's often the case. These types of groups and even street gangs themselves, they prey on young kids. And like I said, this is a more serious one for us. And I have to say this because I know it to be true. They prey on these young kids who think that they don't have any hope or future. And they try to offer them one. But their solutions are going to only end up one of two ways. Killed or prison. Those are the options. And that's not what he wants. Now, meanwhile, also, while Edward Furlong was at school, he helps a kid get up after he takes a beating from some black boys. And he had disrespectfully blew cigarette smoke into one of the boys' faces. This all leads up toward the end, where Edward Norton had redeemed himself. And also, Danny has pretty much changed his outlook too because of the assignment and his brother coming home. So he's changed his outlook too. Well, they're going to school, and he drops him off at school. And the tragedy is that Danny hadn't reformed in a way, and Edward Norton having reformed. It ends with Danny getting shot. It's a tough watch, guys. It's tremendously acted, though, by everybody involved. And the cinematography is very good, too. And the score is very good. And it's well directed. So, I mean, I can't say that I love this movie in the way that we do the other I Love This movies, but I do, in fact, love the movie. But not because, I'm some sort of white supremacist or anything like that, because I'm far from it. There are some people that might watch that might watch it for that, son. And don't let my haircut fool you guys. I just buzzed my hair off today.
Don't worry, I'm going to be doing it as well.
I know it's a little ironic that I'm talking about a movie about skinheads and whatnot when I have, well, basically a skinhead. But there, I should point out.
No, yours is more of a buzz cut. The way when they talk about like skinheads, they're talking about like no hair.
Yeah, well,
crap like that. That's
Also, though, you can't truly categorize skinheads as just racist, because I should point out that there's also a group out there called like Skinheads Against Racism. So there's another group out there like that.
Excuse me.
But
excuse me.
Having said all of this,
Hold
though,
on.
guys.
I had to break the tension.
My final rating for it is definitely a 5 out of 5. We found it on Tubi, so
Mine's also a 5 out of 5.
if you want to check it out, you can find it there on the Tubi app. I'm sure it's also available on several other streaming services. You can also find it on like VHS. I know I'm going way back with this one here, but VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. So there's lots of options out there. But of course, and I'm being a little more serious with the outro here, but of course, if you think, or if you've seen American History X and you think that it's a worthless pile of garbage and it never should have been made, and they got the message all wrong, well, I don't really know what's wrong with you, but you're wrong. And in this case, we're not just two idiots with a cell phone camera. But, as always, our opinions do not matter because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. So, having said all that, guys, there's only one thing to say. Well, a couple of things. Getting off of the serious tone of it now, we've got a Lifetime movie for you guys tomorrow. It's called Pool Boy Nightmare. So look out for that one. It's going to be great.
And hopefully if this video gets uploaded in time, we can do Rocket Man.
Yeah, we might do a Q&A review of Rocket Man. I haven't really watched the movie.
I have 4 times. You know it's going to be good if I've watched it 4 times.
Okay, so, what else do we have?
Scooby-Doo.
For the younger audience, we're going to have a Scooby-Doo or a Tom and Jerry movie coming out very soon
Alien
as well.
Invaders.
Probably Alien Invaders. And I guess there's nothing left to say about this one except...
Go check out my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Check out the Offspring channel, Jason Scanlon. And other than that, as always, there's only one thing left to say, and that is... Peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.